Okay, here's the car. Airbags deployed. It appears the car didn't roll, although witnesses said that it did. Darren, can you come start taking this stuff and putting it in the truck? So this is the side of the car where the guy T-boned them. And we're assuming Shane's arm was outside the car and scraping the cement barrier between the highways. There's two of the boys. Everybody, safe and sound. Show them your boo-boo, Shane. Hey, be glad you're here for me to irritate you.
Yeah, that's the point.
Okay, guys, we just took the bandage off of Shane's arm. Oh, turn it. Oh, gross.
And it got pretty deep.
That is just like so super nasty.
The worst part's going to be the top. The rest of that'll pretty much heal over so you can't tell. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Tuesday morning. And as you can see, I'm at the truck stop with Shane. Really concerned that he's not wanting to drive. You know, he could have driven my truck over here, and he's just not comfortable driving, and that's concerning. So anyway, I'll catch up with you guys soon. It's Tuesday and it's 3:49 p.m. I am so glad. I have a very light week at the grooming shop this week. And the gal that I thought was leaving is absolutely staying, and she is being a real trooper. I just appreciate her so much. So let me start with Saturday night. So Saturday night, we got the house refinanced. They transferred the funds to our account, and Honey and I were in here, and we were talking about what debts we were going to pay off and so forth. And I told him to, because he has credit cards and I have credit cards, I told him to get your phone and call and check your balances so I can know how much to pay or to pay him off or whatever. So Honey's really bad. He does not keep his phone on him all the time or near him or anything. So he goes, oh, it's out in the garage. So he went out in the garage and he got his phone, and he came back in, and we're talking for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and the phone rings, and it's Blake. And I could hear Blake. It was kind of loud, and he's like, Alan always answers the phone, hey buddy, what's up? Or hey buddy, what you doing? Or something like that. So he answered that way, and Blake said, Dad, we've been in an accident. I got the hiccups, I'm sorry. So Alan's like, are you okay? You know, because he's calling and he sounds fine. So he's thinking you guys had a fender bender. He's like, are you okay? And Blake said something like, it's really bad. And Alan's like, what? Are you effing kidding me? Are you messing around? And Blake's like, no, Dad. And right then the paramedic took the phone away from Blake. And he's like, this is the such and such Denver fire department paramedic. We need to get him off the phone. He's like, I'm his dad. I need to know what's going on. And the paramedic's like, we're taking him to Denver Health by ambulance. We'll meet you there. And Alan's like, 38 years ago today, a paramedic called our house and told my mother that everything was okay and my dad was dead. He said, are you going to do the same thing to me? And the paramedic hesitated and he said, I don't think anything's life-threatening. And so Alan was like, okay. And he hung up and he's like screaming at me. I remember exactly where I was. That was Honey calling to tell me that they had an Allstate insurance adjuster at his work today, and he asked them to look up Shane's thing and find stuff out. So he was calling to tell me stuff actually I already knew, but he did give me a little bit of new information. Anyway, back to the story. So he's yelling at me to get dressed because I was already in my jammies. And so I threw clothes on. I was like, sorry, dogs, you can't go outside. And he's like, no, put the dogs outside. I got to move the Jeep so we can get the truck out. So it feels like it took us 10 minutes to get out of the house. Okay. And then we put the location of the hospital in the navigation system. And we followed the instructions. And it took us to an office building. And we're both just like, are you kidding me? So we Googled it on our phones. We put that address in. It wasn't too far. We got to the hospital. We parked. When we pulled up, we could see Savannah. She was looking for a parking space already because I had called her. They were across the street at the neighborhood restaurant / bar. And her and her friend were having dinner and a drink. So she got there before we did. We got parked and we ran to the ER where the ambulances come. When we got there, the ambulance had just got there, and Blake and Darren were able to walk out of the ambulance, and Shane was on a stretcher with a neck brace, and he was looking straight up. And I went up and I just gently touched his shoulder, and I was like, Shane, we're here. We're here. Don't worry. We're here. He didn't look at me or say anything, which kind of scared me a little bit. But they pushed him in and they stopped us and they were like, you can't come in here. You have to go around. I mean, it was like around the entire hospital we had to go. So we did, and we got over there, and you have to go through these metal detectors and everything because it was the county hospital. It was not the greatest, nicest hospital, but it is the major trauma center for the Denver metro area. So we got in, and we went and told the lady that we were here for them, and she was like, you're going to have a seat. They just got here. So Alan was pretty pissed off about that, but we sat down for, 5 minutes, and we had run so far, and I'm not a runner. No, not a runner. So my throat was like, was breathing through my mouth, and I was bleeding I had to have been bleeding in my throat because it was cold out. Because I could taste blood. And so Honey went to go get me some water. And I came back. Honey got a phone call. It was his family. He needed to go help his mom because she's elderly and needed help walking up. So he went out. In the meantime, I went up and I asked the lady again. I was like, when can we see our sons? And she asked me for their names. And she's like, we only have one car accident victim. And I was like, no, we saw them get out of the ambulance. There's 3. She's like, well, we have whiskey something something. And I was like, whiskey something something. She goes, oh, well, that's what we make up names for them when we don't know what their name is. And I was like, his name is Shane Hinkle. So she was like, oh, good. It's good for us to know who he is. So she goes, well, the police are with him right now. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, you can't go back there. So I was like, but where are our other two boys? You said you only had one. And she said, oh, well, they're under 20 years old, so they're in the adolescent. I was like, you're going to split us up? She's like, yeah, just go out and down the hall, blah, blah, blah. So I had to go outside and tell Honey that the Blake and Darren were in the adolescent and where to go. So we went over there. Savannah stayed where Shane was at, and I told her to text me as soon as they let you in. So this is just a really long story, guys. It's really long. Let me get to the nut cut in here. So we get in to see Blake. Blake tells us what happened. He remembers it very vividly. I'm like, okay. So I walk down the hall to Darren's room because they're in separate rooms. And I asked Darren, what happened? He told the exact same story. So this is the story. So Shane's in the middle lane. And Shane's in the middle lane. Then there's this other driver. And they said that he was coming up. They could see him weaving in and out of traffic and came up next to them. And then he whipped into their lane. And they said Shane had to swerve out of the way or he was going to clip him. So Shane swerved, lost control of the car. Their car went like this, ended up in front of the other car, hit them, threw them into the concrete barrier. Bam, 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 bam on the concrete barrier. And then they swerved back and hit the guardrail on the other side. We were under the impression the car had rolled. We were told the car had rolled. The boys were so disoriented in the crash because they were told that it rolled. They also thought it had rolled. It didn't. Most of you saw the pictures on Facebook. I will, you've already seen the video of the car, how it looks. I'll put some pictures in as well. But the paramedics did tell them that it was a miracle that no one died. They said this looks like an accident where at least, someone would have died. So we truly, truly are grateful, and we know who's in control. It's not us, and it wasn't their time to go. So Shane was, when I finally did get to see Shane, Savannah was already with him, and he was very upset, and he was crying, and he was like, Mom, how are Blake and Darren? And I'm like, they're fine. They're going to be okay. There's very minor injuries. And like 2 minutes would go by, and he's like, Mom, how are Blake and Darren? And I'll be like, Shane, it's okay. They're going to be all right. They're fine. And he just like every minute, 2 minutes, he would ask me again, like I hadn't already told him. Not like he wanted to know, are they okay still? But that he couldn't remember that I had told him. And he was asking me questions that I would tell him. And then he would ask me again. And he, then we had a hard time getting a doctor in there. But finally, somebody came in. And I was like, can somebody explain to us what's going on? And they finally told us that he had a brain bleed. But he had the type of brain bleed that normally heals on its own. But they were going to have to do multiple scans throughout the night to make sure that that was the case. Another thing that was very upsetting to Shane was that he could not remember anything. And he said he couldn't remember like 10 or 15 minutes before the accident. He couldn't remember. He remembered bits and pieces in the ambulance and bits and pieces of when we were there, but his brain was just not right at that point in time. And that's when the police had been interrogating him with a concussion, a brain bleed. Are you kidding me? How in God's name is it okay for them to be interrogating someone under those conditions? I am so angry. So, anyway, they moved him to an extended stay room, and they turned off all the lights and told him, your brain needs to rest. We need to turn off all the lights. We need to keep things quiet. So he went to sleep, and about 30 minutes after he'd been sleeping, I went ahead and felt like it was okay to go see Blake, and I went to see Blake, and was there with him for a while and the rest of the family. And I spent the entire night and most of the next day. So I was awake for about 40 hours. And if you guys know me, and most of you don't know me, like my sleep patterns, but I fall asleep at like 9:30 at night. So I had been up since 6 in the morning, and I went to bed about 10 o'clock. 6 in the morning, Saturday morning. I went to bed about 10 o'clock Sunday night. So, yeah, it was. And then Monday, we had to be up and going to look at the car and doing all kinds of things and making phone calls and insurance companies and lawyers and everything else. And it's been an exhausting weekend. It's Tuesday. Yeah, I'm tired. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. So for those of you who knew and said prayers, I can't thank you enough. Can't thank you enough. I have to tell you, this is a little, a lot of you probably know this book, but this is a little calendar, a little desk calendar that was given to me as a Christmas gift. And when I got home yesterday, I thought to myself, I want to know what it said for the day of the accident. March 25th, let thankfulness temper all your thoughts. A thankful mindset keeps you in touch with me. I hate it when my children grumble, casually despising my sovereignty. Thankfulness is a safeguard against this deadly sin. Furthermore, a grateful attitude becomes a grid through which you perceive life. Gratitude enables you to see the light of my presence shining on all your circumstances. Cultivate a thankful heart, for this glorifies me and fills you with joy. 1 Corinthians 10:10 and Hebrews 12:28 through 29. And I thought, as much as you want to say, why my child? Why did this happen? I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying, thank you, Lord, for sparing our children. I have to say, I'm not a perfect Christian. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not a perfect mother. But I will tell you one thing that I learned growing up was to be grateful to the Lord for everything. I even told Shane earlier today, I said, you know what, Shane? As horrific as this has been for you, for the other boys, maybe it spared you. Maybe this, because you're going to have to stay home longer before you go out on the road. Maybe if you had gone out when you were planning to in a week, maybe you would have been in a terrible trucking accident. And this accident is keeping you from that accident. I said, we will never know. I said, but you're saying things like, well, I wished I just hadn't left the house that night. You never know why things happen the way they happen. And I believe there is a purpose for everything, a reason that everything happens. And I believe that there was a reason. This is keeping him from something worse. Anyway, guys, I'm going to enjoy my tea, take a shower. I hope that caught you up on most everything. And I'm sure I'll talk about it some more as the days and weeks go by. She needs to continue to see doctors. The lawyer came yesterday, but we're waiting for the final accident report. They had to do an investigation. We're still not sure about the other driver, if what we heard about him fleeing the scene was accurate or not, because it was hearsay from other parties that were at the accident scene. I mean, there was hearsay that the car rolled and it didn't, so we're really not sure about further details, but I am going to keep you guys posted. A lot of you were wonderful, and I appreciate all the prayers and concern, and I would ask you to keep praying, because even though the actual physical injuries are healing and improving, there are psychological things that happen to you when you have an accident that bad. And I've never been in an accident like that, but I'm seeing the psychological ramifications of being the driver, feeling, because he's unaware of what actually happened. I mean, like I said, the two boys have told him what happened. He is having such great difficulty because he himself can't remember. And he's like, Mom, I need to remember. I need to know without a doubt in my own mind that this was not my fault and that I didn't do this. And he either needs that accident report to say that, or he needs to remember and know on his own. But I fear that he'll never get his memory back from that, because it was extremely traumatic. And we assume that what happened was when they hit the concrete barrier, that he put his arm up like this, because that huge road rash is all right here. And that is what makes sense, that he put his arm up to protect his head from that concrete barrier. So, so scary. Anyway, talk to you guys later. Guys, it's still Tuesday. It's now almost 7 o'clock. It's still light outside and it's raining, and I can't tell you how good it feels to know both my boys are in the next room, safe and sound, under the covers, watching television together. Ugh. One of the things I didn't make mention of earlier, and I think it's important to say, is that one of the beautiful things that happened with the accident is me getting to see how much these kids love each other. When I called Savannah while Alan was screaming at me to get, let's go, and I mean, it's not like I was dawdling or anything, but he was freaking out. I called Savannah and I was like, Shane and Blake have been in an accident. And she's like, what? What? Where are they? I was like, we're on our way to the hospital. They've been taken to Denver Health and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I'm on my way. And she went, and like I said, she arrived there before we did. She was in stroking Shane when I walked in the room. She had a tissue and she was dabbing his tears, and you know, Blake wanting to know how Shane was, and Shane's emotional, just unbelievable. I don't even know how to describe it. He was just so genuinely concerned, just heartbroken that there was a possibility that he had been driving and anyone else was hurt. It just moved me so much to see the compassion and genuine love coming from my child to another child. And it was just truly moving. Looking back on it, you know, at the time, my concern was, is my child going to be okay? I already really felt comfortable that Blake was going to be okay and Darren were going to be okay. It was pretty evident right away. But, you know, I just really felt compelled to come and tell you guys about that. And it's just nice that, you know, it's cold, it's rainy outside, and my family is safe, snug as a bug in a rug. in the next room watching television together. What a relief. Bye, guys. Does this in any way look comfortable? That looks comfortable. This does not. She knows I'm talking about her. Guys, it's Friday afternoon, and it's raining, and it's going to turn to snow in a little while, and I just made a large purchase at that new digital paper store that I have fallen in love with. And in the meantime, I found another new digital paper store that I'm in love with, and I made a large purchase there. Because I think it's buy 10, pay half price. So I have a lot of downloading to do. So I thought I would just come and chat with you a little bit. And just, you know, it's been a really stressful week. You know, Shane is the type of person, he doesn't complain a lot, and I have seen him continue to be confused, to get frustrated. He's really frustrated because there are a lot of questions coming his way. Insurance company has a million questions. The legal firm has a million questions. His doctors have a million questions, and he's getting very frustrated by all of that because his brain is it's damaged right now. They compared it to like if you sprained your ankle and they tell you stay off your ankle, rest your ankle, don't use your ankle. And it's the same way with the brain. They want you to rest it. And so he's getting really frustrated because people just keep asking him questions. And I'm one of those people. I'm like, did you talk to insurance today? Did your lawyer call you today? And he's getting frustrated with me, but I'm trying to keep it to a minimum. His arm looks like, oh my gosh, it looks horrible. And we'd been wrapping it, but they told us it really needs to dry out. So last night he tried sleeping without anything on it, and it cracked open and bled, and it's gross. Things at the shop have been really good. You know, it's crazy. The gal that I thought was leaving seems to be extremely happy and staying. And Savannah actually has made it clear she really needs a break from the dog grooming shop. So she's going to go work at Walmart full time. She'll help me out here and there when she has time or I need some extra help, but she's going to go Walmart full time. And you know, maybe that's her niche. Maybe dog grooming isn't for her. And I told her there's a lot of people that can work their way up into management at Walmart. I see lots of young people that are managers at Walmart. So maybe that's going to be what turns out to be good for her. I'm also worried about Shane's, you know, up here, he's not wanting to drive. It'll be a week tomorrow and he's not wanting to drive. So Honey's really going to take him in the car, but it's going to snow. And I'm like, you guys aren't going driving in the snow. Not his first time out. So he's going to stay an extra week at least before he goes back out on the road, if he goes back out on the road. But anyway, I really been doing a lot of thinking, and sometimes my brain goes into a bad mode, and I started thinking, you know, we could be burying our kids right now today. I am so grateful to God that he spared them and it wasn't their time, and it just really makes me rethink a lot of things. A lot of things with Honey, with the kids, with just I mean, you never know from 1 minute to the next. If you have a day left, an hour left, a minute left, you just don't know. Anyway, I'm going to upload my stuff, and I'm so glad you guys are there to listen. I hope you don't mind, and I've really gotten back into the crafting. I told you guys I was nervous while we were remodeling the shop, that I had absolutely no desire whatsoever, nothing, zip, zero, zilch for crafting. And now that I'm back in the swing of things, I'm enjoying the shopping part, and that's really helping me get to a place where I'm loving crafting again. And I especially like it when I'm making a lot of money, and my card lady has bought every single card I've made since I've been back to crafting. So I better start making more cards. See you guys later. Hey guys, today is day 6. And that's how it looks. It's gross. But this part doesn't look like...
Let me just go ahead and touch it.
Does that hurt? Yeah.
Well, it looks dry over here.
That doesn't mean touch it.
But that part looks so strange.
I think smack the phone into it.
I think we should go to the doctor.
Give your viewers like a real close look at it and just...
I did.
No, like smack him.
No.
Forcefully.
And you got a shave and a haircut. And here's the other two, ding and dong. There's my grumpy boy. He's ignoring that I'm doing a video. He was very angry that we made him come. But the doctor said he was glad he came. He said he doesn't think it's infected, but he does have some swelling, so he's going to put him on some antibiotics. That's what Mom wanted. This is a much nicer hospital. Yeah, much nicer. I'm actually in a recliner. Okay guys, I wanted to show you. Look at our mountains. We're gonna go down, we're not gonna see them anymore. But we're gonna come up on a spot here in a minute where you'll be able to see them again. So I'm just gonna keep rolling. We're just on our way home from church. Wanted to sit in the Lord's house and thank Him for protecting our kids. We invited them to join us, but for various reasons. Sorry you're looking at a billboard right now, but for various reasons. Shane didn't have any jeans to wear. He only had brought shorts from the truck. Blake has been getting up early every day and going to school, so he really needed to get some rest. So we praised the Lord enough for all of them, didn't we, honey?
We sure did.
It's a crazy feeling to not know what's going on. You know, I was telling them about, you know, how the paramedic took the phone from Blake. What did he say when he took the phone?
He didn't take, I asked to talk to the paramedic.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't know what hospital they were going to get transported to.
And tell him what you said.
Huh?
Tell him what you said.
Which part?
About 38 years ago.
There was the
The accident happened on the anniversary of my dad's death.
Yeah.
And I told the paramedic, I asked the paramedic how they were, and he said they seem to be fine, but they're going to transport him to the hospital. And I said 38 years ago we were told the same thing about my father, and he ended up being dead.
In a trucking accident where he wasn't even driving.
No.
He was asleep. Very, very scary night for us.
Yes.
Here's Honey's steak and lobster. Darren's having some chicken. Blake's having a little bit of everything. Shane's also having a little bit of everything, and some mac and cheese, grab mac and cheese. And then Savannah and I,
It's a wait.
we have to wait.
She misunderstood.
They really didn't have to wait though, so don't be saturated with their lies. Because you have a plate of shrimp over here.
Yeah, we didn't order shrimp, but they left it, so we had something to munch on. And there's my potato. It's time. Let's see your shirt, Shane. Darren's got Negan.
On the Negan train.
Turn around. We have to see the back ears because the front doesn't look Walking Dead. Take a picture of your butt. And I'm wearing this one.
Star Wars one.
Star
Of
Wars.
course, she has to have the best one.
Yes, of course I do.
This is crazy how good it fits. The shirt, the design.
Oh.
It's the poster, that one.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? Show them your bleeding. We're going to need to check it out.
The bleeding.
The bite.
It's extended, huh?
An hour and a half tonight. There's the crew. Say hi, Walking Dead fans.
You give these people hope. It's only a matter of time before the other bands crush you. They are welcome to try.
Okay, Sunday night. Last night we were at the hospital with it. Shane just peeled the stuff off of it, and he was in a lot of pain. So, all right, I'm off to get bandages.